think I'll pick my first one. Focus on quality, not quantity, and use that as a starting point. I think we can start with that one.
The importance of strengthening the link between debt, governance and growth. And it ties very, very well with what Ms. Ryder just said. Absolutely agree with all the points she made. Thank you.
Debt for productive investment, for me, that is key, instead of using debt for consumption.
More inclusion, more transparency in terms of the debt and opening the space. And I think this is a great start with this conference, but also having the African Union and the respective bodies coming together. So for me, let's have more inclusion in this discussion.
Two key things. One is that governance, which has been said a number of times in its different forms, so that it propagates inclusion in contracting debt. But the other thing also is to make sure that we engage in processes that drive down the cost of credit in Africa, so that our development can be achieved at lower rates.
It can be done if we do it collectively, if we join hands, if the African Union is at the forefront of unifying African voices who are not speaking in disparate countries, but are able to speak one. It's time for us to be able to set the agenda for our own selves and take hold of our own destiny.
There is a lot to be said about how we as Africans can build our own domestic capital markets. We have domestic investors who could be putting money back into our own economies in order to ensure that we are growing in a sustainable manner. So I would say, let's use African money to build Africa. Thank you.
The takeaway is that as a young continent, young people have to actively participate in processes where decisions are made, especially decisions that affect their future. We cannot have 8-year-olds borrowing money to be paid back in 50 years, for example. So my takeaway is that let's have young people participate in processes that lead to decision making, or where decisions are made, and this cuts across whether it's resource mobilization, whether it's allocation, or even utilization. It all goes back to where the power is and where the decisions are made. Thank you.
The opportunity that the African Free Trade area provides in really leveraging our comparative advantage as the 54 nations of Africa to benefit our people and ensure that, for instance, small-scale farmers are able to feed our continent, and we reduce the food import bill. There's no reason why we can't feed ourselves as Africans, and at the same time that our entrepreneurs, our innovators are creating jobs, as others have said. And then I would say really maximizing our bargaining power as the continent and as our governments with African civil society, one, holding governments to account and ensuring they're speaking on behalf of our collective population, and similarly complementing the efforts at government level.
A huge thank you to my panelists that joined us this afternoon as we closed this conference. A huge thank you to all of the participants that took time off their busy schedules to join us as well. The conversation doesn't have to end here. Keep the conversation going on social media. We have been trending over the last 3 days, and we have lots of other events coming up with AfCoDD as well. So be sure to follow all of the happenings on their website as well as on social media. They are on Instagram, they are on Twitter, they are on Facebook, they are on YouTube. Please do go and follow them right now so you can stay up to date with all of the events that they have planned. The hashtag that we've been using is AfCoDD 2021, hashtag Africa Rule Maker, hashtag Africa Economic Justice. Tell us to you what it really means for Africa to be a rule maker.
To read and sign the Harare Declaration, go to www.afcoDD.org/initiatives. Click on AfcoDD Conference on Debt and Development, and then read more. And finally, the outcome statement.